Hi, thanks for joining me today as I do a very indulgent deep dive into the writing of Desire Lines.
I wanna get to know ya.
So, first of all, I want to talk about the origin and the development of the song. It was written after my master's project, so between September to December 2024. During this period, I was writing songs still with the album in mind. I was applying for my funding through Creative Scotland. I'd already written, I think, 8 or 9 songs, particularly for the theme of the album, which was women's unrecognised labour, whether that was historically or in modern day Scotland. The title for the song first came to my attention probably in about 2016, 2017. So that's like almost 10 years ago now. I learned about the phrase. It's an urban planning term that describes the paths that are unplanned, but they're made by people when they're kind of taking shortcuts across grass, for example. And I loved the idea of writing a song called Desire Lines. I loved the concept. And I'd tried a few times over the years to write a song called Desire Lines. But nothing, it always really felt forced. There was nothing that kind of came out of it that felt not good, but like didn't really feel like I could develop it into something that I was excited about writing. So I just abandoned the idea for quite some time. Which, as a side note, I always advocate that people never cross things out that they've written and they never throw away their notebooks because you never know when those notes are going to come in handy. And it's paid off for me throughout the years with different song ideas that I've had and started. And then I'll end up thinking, I had a really good verse that's kind of in this wheelhouse. And then I'll go back and dig out the notebook. But the negative of this is that I have a lot of notebooks lying around my house in boxes and it's getting very cluttered in here. So do with that what you will. You have to make some sacrifices as an artist. I wrote a lot of really serious songs during my MA and I wanted to write something fun. So I kind of thought to myself, oh, it would be good to write a couple of really fun songs, maybe with the idea of having them in the album. So that was my thinking at the time, but I hadn't really thought that I was going to do one about dating. So out of nowhere, one night, I had this melodic idea that just kind of popped into my head. This opening line of, I want to get to know ya. And I'm just going to play a voice note now, this is the first voice note that I have that has anything to do with Desire Line.
I wanna get to know ya. And not just in a physical sense. Wanna do 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 do. I wanna do things I thought I'd never do. You know I want you inside and out. Something about this is the heat we write songs about.
So as you heard, it just came to me straight up like that. You can also hear me doing some embarrassing vocalizing, which I have left in to demonstrate that is part of the creative process. It is extremely cringe. You do sound stupid when you're doing it, but so what? Often in my process, it is melody that just kind of arrives in this way, and then I'm kind of left to work out how and where and what and who and whatever. Like how's it going to go? Like what is the song actually going to go like? And yeah, vocalizing and doing these kind of nonsense phrases are really helpful for that. It's something that quite a lot of songwriters use. I call them placeholder lyrics, where I just sort of sing what maybe feels right. That allows me to then get the rhythm or the syllables in the song, and then I can craft lyrics that actually say what it is that I want to say. It's very rare for a song to come out fully formed. I think I've maybe had two out of the, I don't know, I don't even know how many songs I've written. So eventually, it took me about 3 weeks. I don't think I was working on the song continuously, but the next voice note was on the 18th December 2024. And you can hear that I have picked a key for the song to be in. I've got like a little chord progression, quite simple chord progression, and a little bit more of a structure to the
Get to
song.
know ya. not just in a physical sense. Yeah, I want to show ya I'm done keeping up the pretense. I know I spent too long pretending I was strong, acting unbothered and hoping you would play along. Inside and out, twisted and shout, this is the heat we write songs about. Desire lines, no games, I wanna make moves. Desire lines, come on, get into the groove.
I then took the song to demo with my old band, the Killjoys, and it was actually during this jam with the Killjoys that we came up with the idea of having a 3-part harmony at the start of the song.
I wanna get to know ya.
So once we had had a first little jam, you can hear quite rough, but this was like a first jam of it, trying to work out what the flow of the song would be. At its heart, Desire Lines explores connection and vulnerability in the modern world. It's a sort of antidote to dating apps. There's actually a really funny, I didn't realize until I was doing the research for this video and going through my camera roll, that the night before I had the idea for Desire Lines, I had a deeply unsatisfactory run of interactions on Tinder after being on it for the first time in a long time. You know, I just deleted the app. I was like, do you know what? F this. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this shallow, petty, boring, sleazy interaction anymore. Like, I'm over it. So I think that's really where I got the idea of the song. I hadn't realized that until this, but it kind of makes sense. I was starting to date again, and I wanted to kind of capture the excitement and the nerves of dating, of meeting people, of being yourself, being vulnerable around them, and particularly as I had just sort of learned that I was neurodiverse, I'd learned about masking, I'd learned about all of these things. Even healing trauma, going back into a relationship after being in, bad relationships in the past. Um, or having bad things happen to you, it really makes your body live in this fear state, even if your mind is consciously aware that you're not in danger. Your body still lives there. And yeah, it was just really intimidating to think about going back into dating. So to sort of counteract that nervousness, I wanted the song to be cockier and to be more like of a swagger. But I was also thinking as well, because the intro line is so like straight to the point. I want to get to know ya. It's like actually quite a good introduction to me as an artist who is kind of going into this new era. It's pretty straightforward and direct. I'm a big confessional writer. I love it. I love listening to confessional songwriting, and I like to do it. I like to be quite to the point, but also a little bit of, if you dig underneath the surface, you'll find different meanings within my songs. I like to do that too. And I also like to be funny. I like to try and make people laugh because, yeah, there is a lot of darkness in my work. And I think that it's nice to be a bit pithy or like witty when you're delivering someone a sad song. It's nice to sort of make them chuckle as well. And if you didn't laugh, you would cry, right? I think it's very traumatized, like CPTSD coded vibes in my music on reflection. I'm just sort of realizing that now. I love Easter eggs. Having learned a lot more about songwriting over the past like 12 months of studying, I started incorporating a lot more challenges in my songwriting. So I would think of like different techniques to use in a song, or, to try and make it a little bit harder to write almost. And while I was writing this song, I found an interview with Evan the Kid Bogart, who's a songwriter based in the US, and how he slipped a bunch of 80s pop song title references into his song SOS, which was made famous by Rihanna.
The whole second verse of that song is 80s song titles strung together as sentences because I thought it would be super clever. Take on me, aha. Take on me. You know inside you feel it right. You know inside you feel it right. Take me on. Take me on. I could just die up in your arms tonight. Just die up in your arms tonight.
I was obsessed with this idea. I thought it was like a crossword puzzle. Songwriting to me feels like doing a crossword puzzle anyway, but like you get to make up all the rules of it. It's like So good, so satisfying. And this was just like taking it to the next level. It was like Sudoku. I thought I could give you like one or two just to get you started, and you can see if you can find the rest of the songs. So most obviously, the Beatles' "Twist and Shout."
Twist it and shout.
And there's another song by a band or an artist called Red Hot Lover Tone, and it's called "Wanna Make Move."
We gonna do a 95 stack. Hey, I wanna make moves, but I got no money. I got no money.
I wanna make moves.
Another feature of the song's lyrics that I thought was interesting to mention is the meaning of lines. Desire lines, obviously, we spoke about the paths at the start, but clearly in the song, that's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about the lines of vision when your eyes meet across a crowded room and you think, "Ooh, I want to get to know that person a bit more. I like them. I like how this makes me feel." But I also thought of like the curves or the lines of a woman's body. Also thought, because I'm a nerd, I was thinking about cognitive processes and how like we have this neuroplasticity. You can change the actual structure of your brain, and I was thinking about neural pathways as lines in your head, and like how if you heal trauma, you can kind of relearn to like not, to not fear vulnerability, and to want connection. Also, I think we sort of follow lines or patterns in relationships, and I felt like this song was like quite good to challenge that. So let's talk real quick about structure. I stuck to a really classic pop song structure in this song. So we go verse, chorus, bridge, and then a double chorus at the end, which is absolutely classic. I love to write in this way. I think pretty much every song on the album has a bridge this time. And yeah, it's just like nice when you finally learn to write a bridge. You're like, okay, damn, let's keep doing bridges. But yeah, I love a pop structure. I also think that it's really interesting how the songs in the album, obviously this one's not included in that, but the songs in the album all started off as like academic exercises. They were like experiments. Some of them were quite like long and kind of meandering and had different, different experimental sections, if you like. And then I've gone and crafted them into pop songs with the help of Carla as well, my producer, Carla G. Easton, a close personal friend. She really helped me trim the fat, I feel like. I think it's really, for me, another thing I love about songwriting, apart from everything, is how open it is and how you can do basically whatever you want. But I like to shape my songs into pop songs. I think that's the kind of music that I most enjoy listening to. So I love it when it is a little bit predictable and you can sort of feel where it's going. One thing that I've really tried to do with my writing throughout this album is to make every section of the song feel like a chorus, to try and pack as many hooks into the song as possible. And I really loved, especially in this song, working with simple phrases and repetition and sort of familiar phrases as well, like, for example, the song titles that I snuck in there. Sonic influences and recording. So I'm absolutely terrible at naming influences. I would say that I actually listen to more podcasts and audiobooks than I do music, particularly when I'm not in a writing phase. So having Carla as my producer was so important. She is like the library of every record ever made. Like if you say, "Oh, I feel like I want like a sound that's sort of like this," she'll be like, "Oh, do you mean on like the 1978 record by like such and such bands?" And I'll be like, "Who?" But then we would stick the track on, and it's like, "Oh my god, how did you know that's what I wanted when I couldn't say that myself?" So she's really knowledgeable with her references, and it was so good being in the studio with her and Jolyn as well, who mixed the records. It was nice to learn from both of them. The extent of my guidance for this song was I kind of want it to sound like a kind of 70s rock band, but also still be pop and also still feel like a Lou McLean song. So that was the kind of rough outline of what I want. I shared at that point an extremely rough demo with everyone, including Dave McGowan from Bell and Sebastian, who was on bass, and the absolute legend Leslie McLaren, who's the drummer for the album too. And we had a jam at Berkeley in March 2025. So just, I can't believe it. It feels like it feels like 2 weeks ago, but it also feels like 10 years ago. It was actually just a few months. It's wild. But yeah, we jammed it out. And here I thought I would like give you a little sneaky peek of what it was like. Aye.
I wanna get to know you, not just in a physical sense. Take time to show you I'm done keeping up the pretense. No one's meant to know, pretending I was wrong, acting unbothered and hoping that you clear, inside and out, twist it and shout.
You can already hear how much faster the song is, how funky that bass line is. Like, those two were absolutely incredible to work with. I think that was maybe the third time, if that, that we actually played the song together. And you can hear how it's already started to take shape. So in the studio, we added Karen Miller, who played lead guitar, and the four of us, recorded the tracks of the song, which was like the bones of the song, I like to call it, literally in a couple of hours. Karen totally understood the assignment and just nailed it like the other two. Everyone just worked so well together. And it was my first time working with session musicians as well. So for me, it was this incredible experience to see these absolute professional instrumentalists working together and having a laugh as well. We had such good vibes in the studio. It was just so fun. And I think you can hear that on the record, like how nice and tight and cool it was. I don't know. So after we had the bare bones of the song, Carla, Jolin, and myself had to kind of sit and work out, what can we add on top of this? Like, we've got the cake's been made, the icing's been put on. It's like, what decorations do we need for the cake? So Carla had the absolute genius idea of bringing the sitar into the mix. Carla also knew Caris Crosby from Hen House, who is an incredible musician and writer in her own right. But I mean, she came in to do backing vocals for us, and I was blown away at her talent. Like, even Jolan was saying in the studio, he was like, I don't even think I have to EQ these vocals because she's actually EQing them as she's singing, which, if you know, you know, like, incredible. And I think she actually, if I remember correctly, I think Caris had Caris comment, but I think she had the flu during this. It's like, it's absolutely wild to me because you can hear those really 90s, like Alanis Morissette backing vocals in the bridge absolutely effortlessly as well. That's pretty much all I can remember about Desire Line, but have a listen and see if what I've told you changes how you feel about the song, if you work on your ideas with the same process that I do, or just let me know what you think. I don't know. I enjoy doing these kind of breaking down videos. This is just like a nice little yap to talk about the kind of thoughts behind it. And I'm going to do this for every song. It's just interesting that this is kind of the least related to the album thematically. But I do think that it sort of fits into the theme of women's work because it's all around the work that you have to do when you're dating and how that can sometimes feel a little bit exhausting and inauthentic. And sometimes it can feel quite dangerous for women to date men. Um, Men are actually our number one predator, ladies, if you didn't know this, and you're more likely to be unalived, as TikTok would say, by your partner or your ex partner. So, yeah, if you're nervous about dating, actually kind of makes sense to be nervous about dating men. Sorry. Like anyone cares. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you enjoyed the video and I hope that you enjoyed Desireline. Can't wait for you to hear the rest of the album.
I wanna get to know ya, not just in the physical sense. Take time to show ya I'm done keeping up the pretense.